It's fall now, so it's time to get into the more Okay, for our beef pot pie today, you'll need 2 pounds of stew meat cut into small cubes. You need a cup of flour, 5 tablespoons of oil, 1 chopped onion, 2 cloves of garlic chopped, 4 bouillon cubes, 6 cups of water, a tablespoon of thyme, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a half a teaspoon of pepper, 1½ cups of potatoes cubed, a cup of carrots, a cup of frozen peas, and your pie crust. Alright, so let's get started today. I'm going to start in my pan here, take my 5 tablespoons of oil, and I'm just going to put that right in there and get that heating up, okay? In the meantime, move all this stuff down here. Your veggies you're not going to use till the end. Your carrots, potatoes, and peas, so you can kind of leave those off to the side, okay? What you're going to do first is cook your meat. So what you need to do is you have your cup of flour here, and you have your chopped meat. Now, the stew meat, when you buy it, it's in big chunks. You don't want unless you like big chunks in your pot pie. You want to cut it down into nice little pieces, just so they're more bite-sized pieces, and you'll have more of it throughout, rather than just a couple big chunks of meat through your whole, through your whole pie. You'd rather have smaller bites of meat with the vegetables, so you get it in every bite. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to have to cook all of this, but you're just going to dredge it in your flour first, shake off any excess, okay, and then just put this right into your pan and cook all this down. Like I said, just try to shake off as much of the excess flour as you can, and right into our oil, okay? So we'll do all that, we'll fry all of our meat here, and we'll be back when this is ready to come out, because then this has to come out of here, we got to put something else in, okay? Okay, so once you have your meat all browned, you want to take it out of this pan. You're going to have a lot of stuff on the bottom, a lot of scrapings, as you can see, okay? So put that off to the side for right now. We're going to cook our onions and our garlic just for a minute or two. Just kind of Stir them around. Try to scrape as much off the bottom as you can, because that's your flavor. Those little bits there. Okay, and then take your 4 bouillon cubes. I just kind of broke them up a little bit, crush them a little bit, just to help them dissolve a little better. I'm sure they're going to dissolve pretty quick. I got some warm water here. Could be hot, could be warm, doesn't matter. Okay, just kind of mixing that together. Now, I'm guessing, I'm just following this recipe, so I'm guessing instead of the bouillon cubes, you could just use 6 cups of beef stock. Sounds like the same thing to me. We're going to add this to our pan here. Just going to put a little bit in right now, just so I can use that to kind of help deglaze the bottom and scrape some of that stuff off the bottom. Okay. And then we'll just add the rest of that right to our pan. Okay, and then to this mixture, we're going to put our meat back in here. Now, all this flour that's on this meat is going to obviously act as our thickener to make more as of a gravy as this thing cooks down. Okay, so we're just going to add the meat to that, and then add all your other spices and such. Just don't add your vegetables, those go last. Okay, so we're going to add our pepper, our Worcestershire, and our thyme. Okay, we'll just whisk those together with this, and that's it for this. Now you're going to cover this, and you're going to let this simmer for a good 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, because you want this to really cook and the meat to get nice and tender as it's cooking and thicken up so it's more of a gravy. Okay, and then we'll add our vegetables about 20 minutes before we're done here. So in about an hour or so, we'll add our veggies and we'll cook those for about 20 minutes. But I'll come back and tell you those. I got to check on my pie crust in the meantime, make sure we're not burning that. Alrighty, so we'll see you in about an hour. Okay, so that's been going for about an hour, hour and a half. Okay, it's thickened up a little bit, not really thick, but that's okay. We could always add a little cornstarch later if we want it thicker, but we still have to put in our veggies now to cook those down, and that's going to probably suck up a lot of this moisture too. Okay, so I'm going to add my potatoes, my carrots, and my peas. I'm going to stir that all in there. We're going to let this go about another 20 minutes or so, just until it's tender. I mean, just poke one of the potatoes. The potatoes and the carrots will take the longest. The peas will cook like that. But the potatoes and the carrots will take the longest. So you just kind of poke them with a fork and see if they seem like they're tender, or take one out, taste it, and see. Alrighty? Now, this thing is going to, once it goes into our crust, it's going to bake anyway, so that's just going to cook even more. So if they still seem like they're a little firm when you taste them, don't worry about it. I'm sure they'll be fine, because we got to bake this pie for like another 40 minutes once we get the pie part of it into the oven. Okay, so just keep this cooking about another 20 minutes or so. Let's get these vegetables all cooked down. Our pie crust is all cooled down. Now, it was up to the top, but it kind of shrank, but at least the bottom didn't really kind of bubble up, which is good. And that's okay, because at least it's cooked through, so that's just going to add more of that crust element to our pie. Now, our stuff is thickened up here, our filling, and I have a funny feeling I have way too much filling than I'm going to need for this. So I'm just going to kind of spoon this in, and then we'll add as much of the gravy and stuff as we can after, just to finish filling it up. And whatever I have left over, I mean, who knows, it might all fit and I'm just eyeballing it wrong, I don't know. But even if I have leftover, that's fine. I'll just save the leftover, and then I'll just use it and make smaller pot pies later in the week. It's real easy to make some more dough, pie dough, so we'll just do that. Alrighty? Let me just fill that. And now, even because the crust sank, even if it goes above the crust, that's okay, because we're putting a top crust on this, so even if it seeps into the outside, we're spooning it out of this anyway. We're not pulling this whole pie out with the crust and cutting it, because that would just make a huge mess all over the place. Not a bad idea if you have a big bowl or platter to put it on and you want to put it in the center of your table as a presentation. That would be kind of cool. But otherwise, yeah, we're not doing that. So I'm just going to see if I can fill as much as I can into this. I rolled out my top crust, which I'm going to put over the top of this now, and just kind of pinch it around the edges just to seal that. Now watch, it's going to be hot because this filling is hot, so don't grab the sides. Okay, if you're doing it like me in a cake pan. You can also do this probably in a Pyrex dish if you wanted to, without the cover obviously. Maybe even with the cover, I don't know. I'm just following the recipe that I got for this one today. Hopefully this all works well. You know, sometimes these things just don't bake right. Okay, so I kind of pinched that to hold that crust in place, hopefully. I also made a couple little hearts out of the extra dough. I figure that'll tell everyone that we made our pot pie with love today. Okay, it's really corny, I know, I'm getting kind of corny today. But I didn't have a leaf cookie cutter. I thought I had a leaf cookie cutter, and I was excited to make this look, since it's fall now officially, to make this look like a fall pot pie, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool. But no, didn't have a leaf. But that's alright. Oh my God. Into our oven, 30 to 40 minutes, keep your eye on it. I'm also going to put this on a cookie sheet, because if this thing decides that it wants to act like a volcano and spill out all over the place, I don't want it all over my oven. Alrighty? So we'll see you when this thing comes out. Fingers crossed, everybody. Came out really nice. With the nice little heart decoration on there. Next time we'll do leaves, I promise. I gotta find my leaf cookie cutter. I wanted to do leaves for the fall, but that's okay. So, but it's got a beautiful crust, and I'm glad I put it on a cookie sheet like I said to do, because it did bubble up and spill out on the sides in a couple places. So I'm kind of glad we did that. Alright, so let's just break through this crust on the top here. And let's dig in and see what we got. Ooh, look at that. Look at all that beautiful pot pie. Want to make sure we dig in to get the crust on the bottom as well. Okay. Oh yeah. She got a beautiful pot pie here. See my little heart? Alright, so we're going to taste this with the crust, because that's, like I said, that's why we do a double crust bottom and top, just to make sure we get enough of that in there, because that with the gravy that this makes is just the best part. Alrighty? Delicious. Nice and savory. The gravy is thick, but not too thick. So it's still, you know, loose enough. You can actually take some bread, if you don't have enough crust. Get some bread or some nice rolls, crusty bread, Italian bread, and dunk it in this gravy just to enjoy it even more. Okay. Great American Pot Pie Day. Make a pot pie. Don't buy those store-bought freezer TV dinner things. Easy to make. Make your own dough. Make your own filling. You don't have to do beef. You can do chicken. Do whatever you want. You can do all vegetables if you don't do the meat thing. Alrighty? We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.